Hello, students. Welcome to the subject of productions and operations management. We are dealing with this subject since almost a month, and we have almost completed one and a half unit. Right? What we are discussing right now, the unit that we are discussing, is the second important decision taken up by the entrepreneur, that is known as facility location. What is facility location all about? It tells you where to locate your industry or where to set up your organization in order to get the best benefit. And related to this particular decision, all the aspects we are checking it out in this particular unit. We have seen so far so many topics related to facility location, and we are in continuation with that particular process, which is said to be a logical process, which consists of 4 stages of selecting a particular site. As I have been constantly telling, that it cannot be a randomized decision. You cannot take the decision randomly. You have to be very logical. You have to consider all the factors being an entrepreneur, so that you don't have to pay or you don't commit any kind of errors. Because in the previous lectures we have seen, if an entrepreneur commits the lecture while error by say in the initial stage of his venture, then what happens is ultimately he has to pay a very high price, or the mistakes are such which can even at times cannot be corrected. So it's very crucial on his part to take this decision very carefully, and that is why he undergoes different types of stages, or different stages he has to undergo. He goes with different steps. One by one he clears the steps, the factors related to those that particular area he checks, he considers them, he relates to his own industry, his product, nature of product, etc., and then he moves further. That is why what we are discussing right now since the previous lecture is the selection of the site with some kind of process, right? Just we'll have the overview of what we have done. These are the 8 points, as I have been telling you from the beginning, that we are going to consider, and it has got even the sub points here. Let us just revise it one more time. That tells us that in the previous lecture we have studied process, or the steps that involve the selection of proper site for the unit. Now we have already seen that the decision related to the site selection cannot be taken haphazardly. In fact, the entrepreneur needs to undergo a logical process so as to arrive at the correct decision. For this, he goes through 4 stages suggested, right? Which are: number 1, deciding on domestic and international location. We have seen the factors that he needs to consider while evaluating international location. Next step was related to selection of a particular region, and now we are moving towards selection of community and locality. Means in this particular session we will see the third stage. Before moving on to the third stage, it's such a kind of a process in which what happens is, from macro level to micro level he considers all the things and then he decides. Suppose if I am an entrepreneur, the first and foremost step that I need to clear it out in the selection process is that where I want to locate my unit, whether I want to select my own country or I wish to go to some international or foreign country. At that time, when we are selecting, supposingly if I am selecting foreign country as my location, then in that case I have to consider ample of things. Those 12 points and those factors or determinants we have studied quite in detail in the previous lectures, which tells us that what will be the regulation, what will be the trade affairs, how the government policies would be, what will be the condition of competitors, what would be the customers, what will be the competition all about there in foreign countries, and there are so many other related factors that one considers, right? And only then he decides on a particular region, then the locality and site. But when I am as an entrepreneur selecting my own native country, that means in which I live, the country of which I am a citizen of, that particular country if I am selecting, then in that case I have to undergo second, third and fourth stage. That means if I decide that okay, my unit will be in the domestic area, that means it will be in my own country, then at that time the second important point, once I decide that okay, I am going to set up somewhere in India, then what I need to do is I need to finalize on my region, that which region I am going to focus on. India is such a vast country. I have mentioned that in the previous lecture also, that it is such a vast country. A randomized decision somewhere in any of the region cannot be taken up. So in that particular time or in that particular stage, I have to select the region, whether I'll be in the northern region of the country, eastern region of the country, western region of the country, or southern region of the country. That means I fix my region depending upon again ample of factors, and those lists we have seen it. If you remember, it was all the set of primary factors and the secondary factors that we have seen in the previous lecture. Once I decide that okay, I am going to have my setup somewhere in the state of Gujarat, right? Now in Gujarat also I have to fix my community, I have to fix my locality, and that particular thing is considered as stage number 3, which is selection of a community. Now once he wants to select a community or a locality, means if Gujarat is the place I am selecting or the region that I am selecting, then that will not be enough. I'll have to even locate it more precisely. I'll have to go more precisely towards that particular site through this particular stage, that is said to be selection of community or locality. Again, here we are going to check out with the factors that affects the locality or factors affecting this particular stage, and then he has got even the option at this time that whether he wants to go to urban area, whether he wants to go to suburban area, or maybe to the rural area. So quite a lot of discussion may be there in this particular stage, that is said to be the third one. So this particular area, this stage we are going to discuss here in this particular session. So let us see it. See, as you can see it in the diagram also, we have already done within the country or outside, first stage, within the selection of the region, second stage, and we are on the third stage, that is selecting the locality or community. Now when he is selecting the locality and community, there are two things he has to remember, right? That means he can select through various factors, and on the other hand he can select from the 3 options available. So we have already discussed, as I said, the first 2 stage, the same is mentioned here, and then we move on to the third stage, that is selecting or selection of the community or locality. Now selecting the particular locality or a community in a region is the third step in the process of plant location or selection of plant location. The selection of locality or community is often influenced by the following factors. We are going to see set of factors which we need to consider when I want to select my locality, being the entrepreneur, right? And also it gives me the option that whether in Gujarat is the region that I have selected. Now in that particular region also, whether I want to select any urban site, whether I want to go for the suburban site, whether I'll select the rural site. That means these 3 options I can calculate on, and then I can find out the exact site or exact place, right? So let us see all the factors here. There are as many as 6 factors that we'll be discussing. These factors are such which we can call it general in nature. Why general in nature? Any industry would require these generalized factors. We'll have to consider in whichever location we are going, whether it is urban, whether it is suburban, or whether it is rural area, right? In whatsoever area we wish to go, in whatsoever locality we wish to go, it is very important that we consider the factors before taking any action. Before starting with the factors, let me just brief you about the urban, suburban and rural area. I think we all have heard somewhere or the other the urban area. Now when we say urban, urbanization, city area, right, that means we are trying to say that this area is such which is highly developed as compared to the rest of the two. Almost all the facilities, all kind of amenities, all kind of industrialization, economic activities, everything goes well in this particular region. and that is why we call it urban. If it is not urban, even it can be the city area. When we call it city, means we get all the we get to visualize the landscapes, or we can say the skyscrapers, right? We can see the road transportation, railroad communication is available, storage facilities there, so many other facilities are available, say services like banking services, financial institutions, so many things are available there in a particular city. And in a developing city, if you wish to, or in a developing country, if you wish to select the urban area, that means the city is actually growing up, and we wish to take up as an entrepreneur or as an industrialist, we wish to take up a kind of say advantage out of it. So this is what happens when we select the urban area. Then comes up the rural area. See, I can explain this rural and urban with the help of simple example there. If you draw a line, the line has 2 points, right? One is on the other extreme and the other one is on the other extreme. That means one, if I'm the point with which I start, maybe on left side of my hand, right? That means if I'm standing the left side I start with, and I end up somewhere at the right point, that means two extremes I create. Two extremes when I create, one extreme I call it the city area, that means the urban area. The next extreme can be considered as the rural area. Rural means all those amenities which I talked about just a couple of seconds back, all these things are not available. Rural means it's quite a kind of thing in which it is yet to develop, it is still in a village form, it is still in a growing form, and things are at a very primary level. So those areas which are not yet developed, where the facilities of transportations are not enough, where the road connections are not there, where people are engaged in very primary activities like agriculture, industries have not come up to these areas, they all can be, yes, education level is not there, again the population as compared to say city area or urban area, it is not highly or densely populated, right? Agriculture becomes the main source of work or employment for the people living there, their standard of living is low, etc. So many things just opposite to the urban area can be the part of rural area. And the next, that means between these two extremes, whatever the portion of line is, that we can consider as suburban area. Now, what is this suburban area? Suburban area means which has a combination of both these regions. It is the urban region on one side and the say rural region on the other. Both the advantage of particular regions are available in this area, which is known as suburban. Suburban can neither be correctly or completely considered as urban nor the rural, right? It is in between area which is not yet developed, which is about to develop, which has got the characteristics or benefits of village also, and it has got the characteristics of facilities available in a few of the facilities available in the city area also. Both the things are available, and such a kind of area or region can be considered as suburban. Anyways, when we go ahead with this chapter, we'll have the long notes on all of this, and we'll try to see it more in detail. But by now you should be clear that while the person is selecting the locality, or maybe he is selecting the particular say community, then he takes this 6 things in mind. 6 common factors are there which he has to keep it in mind, and then he decides on whether to go urban, whether to go to the rural area, or he may select the suburban areas, right? Here 6 points are there. Say like availability of labor, you may find it that all these points we have studied earlier also, except few. Many of the points are such which we have come across one or the other time in the previous lectures. So it is availability of the labor, civic amenities for workers, existence of complementary and competing industry, finance and research facilities, availability of water and firefighting facilities, or it may be local tax and restrictions. Means these are the 6 points, general simple points that he needs to consider before deciding his community or maybe the locality. Suppose as I told you, I am selecting India as my country, I am selecting the eastern coast of the Gujarat, that is I'm selecting India, eastern coast of India, and I'm selecting the region as Gujarat. Now in Gujarat also, Gujarat is a vast state. Now again a randomized decision cannot be there. While selecting a place in Gujarat also, I need to consider these six things, that which will be the most beneficial area to me, and before that I have to consider these many points. So let us check it out, all these 6 points in detail. It is starting from availability of labor. See, howsoever automated the things or the machineries may be, earlier also I have said that how much ever we become machine oriented, or how much ever we are automated means everything is being worked out with the help of automatic machines, right? Howsoever we do that, but ultimately we have to depend for one or the other thing on the human resource, and that is what is said to be labor in an industry. So those industries who are relying quite a lot on the labor skill, they highly depend on this particular say factor of production, that is labor, right? If I'm say weaving company, if I'm going to start the industry of carpet weaving, or maybe I'm a silk textile manufacturing industry, then in that time, or maybe I'm embroidery providing kind of sector, then in that case it is they are all such kind of industry which require human power a lot rather than machines. At that time I need a particular skilled labor, and if I don't get that skilled labor from that region, it would be useless setting my industry there, because I highly depend on labor. Now if I highly depend on labor and I'm not getting the labor there in my region which I have selected, or my locality which I have selected, that means ultimately I'll have to get them from outside, and or maybe far off place. Now when I'm getting them from outside, hiring them from the outside state, then at that time it's a big venture, or it takes me a costly deal. That means they'll charge me high for coming to leaving their own native place, coming to my region, or setting there in my region. They may take a lot of money for me, and that means it will be a costly affair for me. So what I have to do is, if my unit is labor oriented, or if I need sorry, a kind of skilled labor, then at that time I'll try to see that my unit is near the labor, or near the availability of the labor. So the same point is here. Let us read it out. Despite automation, the importance of labor on the industrial side has not been completely lost. Labor is an important factor of production of goods. An adequate supply of skilled labor is what influences the plant location. As unskilled labor availability is not a big issue. Thus, getting the skilled labor at a reasonable rate is very important. I told you earlier also that labor can be of two types. It can be skilled labor on one side and unskilled labor on the other side. When we are talking about unskilled labor, that means that may be available in any part of the country. For that you don't need to worry. Supposingly if a minor machine is to be worked out, any person, any Tom, Dick or Harry can come down and just operate your machines, or can do a kind of production work in your production house, then that's not a big deal, right? You can get it from anywhere. Unskilled labor, or getting unskilled labor, is not a big deal in a country like India, where there are so many so much of unemployment is there, and you need people, and people are ready to work at any prices. But yes, the question arises when we need skilled labor. That means with some kind of skills, if the labor is required or people are required, then that's a big problem, and at that time we should shift our unit to such an area wherein we get this kind of labor very easily, plus we get at a reasonable rate. So that is what is the availability of labor. Next comes up is civic amenities for workers. See, for just getting the labor will not be enough, and providing them with the good working condition will not be enough. You will have to even provide them with the basic facilities, say like schools, hospitals, recreational facilities, say clubhouses, etc. You have to provide them so that they can have a good mental and physical health conditions, so and they are ready to work for your unit. So always the industries would try to set up themselves there, wherein they get these facilities very easily. Or what happens is they'll have to establish those facilities for their workers. So civic amenities for the amenities means facilities for the worker is very important criteria that should be noticed. So besides goods working condition, the employees also require the recreational facilities, schools, hospitals, and the place which has already these facilities would be selected over the others. Naturally, the places which have got these amenities with these facilities will be always selected, rather than going to such area where these facilities are totally not there or they are not very well developed. So what happens is it will be the responsibility of the entrepreneur to give or to provide this kind of basic amenities to the workers or maybe the employees. So it is always that we select such a kind of place wherein these facilities are basic facilities are available in ample, and the employees demand can be satisfied. On the other hand, we move on to the third point, where third point is all about the existence of complementary and competing industries. Now the existence of complementary industries means what? Already those industries which are complementary in nature, or they are located in that particular area wherein you wish to go. That means they are already established and you just need to just go there and establish yourself accordingly. So what happens is you get the benefit of all the industries that are already there. Suppose if you are the industry producing say paper or maybe the newspaper, and the ink industry has already established in the area. Now what you do is, if ink is the basic ingredient that you need or raw material that you need, means all those industries who have already established themselves in that area, if you try to have your newspaper industry being located there, then what happens is you get those facilities very easily. Again, the next part that comes up is competing industries. That means all those people who are there competing in the different or they can be considered as competitors. Then what happens is that you may have to work hard on those areas, and you will have to see that okay, if the competitors are available there, you can take it as a challenge and move there, or you can avoid that place, right? So if the existence of complementary or competing industries are there, you have to see that point very properly. The existence of complementary industry is favorable to locate the industry, because an industrial unit is association with other units can get the benefit of securing materials, labor, financial facilities, etc. As I told you, and competing industry, if already competitors are there in a particular region where you wish to go, then you won't, either you will take it as a challenge and you will be there creating the pressure on your competitors, or what we can do is we can avoid that area and we can take our unit and we can make it more confidential, more secretive in nature, and then we can start with our own work there, right? So it depends that how you take your industry or how you want to consider your competitors as. So that becomes the third important section. Fourth factor comes up is finance and research facilities. Many times adequate capital requirement is always there. In fact, it's not many times, always it is this, that adequate capital is prerequisite of any unit, and a place where raising up of the capital is not a big deal or not a big issue, always we'll try to see that a place where facilities for raising the capital is available, it attracts the new industry. If you get capital at a subsidized rates, or maybe the capital is cheap enough as compared to any other places, then always the new industries would be attracted towards those places. This factor can be considered in developing countries where there is no uniformity throughout the country. See, this factor is very important in a country like India, because in some part of the country you may have the capital availability at a cheaper rate as compared to the or the capital can be expensive in some other areas. So it depends, in some other states rather. So it depends that what kind of financial facilities do we have, what kind of research facilities, and how do local government provides the facilities for it, we need to consider, and how far we depend on R&D, that means research and development is how far taken up in our industry. All these things we need to consider, and then we select a particular locality, or we call it community. So these are the 4 points that we need to check. Next comes up is availability of water and firefighting facilities. Some industries may require plenty of water for manufacturing, and these factories may be located at the places where water is available in abundance naturally, and those units which are exposed to fire hazards, that means who are prone to getting fire every now and then, at that time adequate fire facilities should be there. It should not be in a congested area. It should be seen that available firefighting facilities are available very easily, right, so that we can avoid loss due to fire. So it should be considered properly. The sixth and the last one comes up is local taxes and restrictions. Local authorities collect charges for the supply of water, electricity and other facilities. We know that very well. They collect the various types of taxes. Therefore, industrialists would prefer an area where such taxes and restrictions are least. That means જ્યાં સૌથી ઓછામાં ઓછા taxes હોય, સૌથી ઓછામાં ઓછા restrictions હોય. Always industrialists એવું વિચારશે કે let us find out the such places wherein we don't have to pay heavy taxes. On the contrary, we get all the benefits. The restrictions are also minimized, the taxes are at the minimum level, and we get the benefit at the highest point. So this is what is said to be the sixth point. Here we are ending up with the general factors, right? Now what we are going to study is, as I told you earlier also, that after considering these factors in general, the particular locality may be in the urban area, that may be city area, it may be in the suburban area, or it may be the other extreme, that is known as rural or village locality can be selected. Now let us try to see it all these areas in detail, because you often get the short notes on write a note on urban areas, write the note on or how the urban areas are different from rural areas, likewise, right? So we need to understand this properly so that we can make it better. So what is urban area or what is city area? We all know it, but when it comes to defining or when it comes to explaining, we should be clear also. So it is defined in the terms of development, availability of infrastructural facilities, formation of local government, population, etc. Thus, a big city has all these facilities which favors a plant location. We all know that all these things are available naturally in a city area, and always this is a favorable thing for a plant location. So an entrepreneur may select the urban or city or this particular city for his industry. When he selects urban area for the site, following set of advantages are available. Now what is urban area? We know that it is the area wherein it is a city area, and there almost all the infrastructural facilities and basic facilities are pre-available. That means it is already available, it has already developed, so we can get the best out of it. Now what kind of advantages we get it? Supposingly, if I am an entrepreneur, I wish to take up I wish to take up the region. I continue with the same example. I wish to select the region that is Gujarat. Now in Gujarat also I wish to select a city like Bharuch, right? If I wish to select a city like Bharuch, then Bharuch is said to be, or Ahmedabad is said to be, or Vadodara in that sense can be considered, Surat can be considered. All these cities are said to be urban areas. Why? Because there are so many features, like we get infrastructural facilities, we get a kind of proper population or demand there, the transportation facilities are available in enough quantity, right? So all these advantages we get it when I shift my unit to such a kind of urban area or city area. Now what set of advantages are there? So when I am selecting the urban area, only advantages are not there, even I have to consider the disadvantages or maybe the pros and cons. I have to see it, and then I can work out on selecting a particular city. So here what we do is we try to see the advantages as a set, and then we try to see the disadvantages as well. So when we are trying to check out with the advantages, here there are few advantages that we must understand. They are very simple. If you know what is city, then we can easily make out, or we can easily prepare with the advantages. So here are few of them. So if you just check the heading there, it is advantages of urban or city area. What is the basic advantage? Number one, adequate transportation facilities for material and manpower. A company needs, I have talked this earlier also, that a company needs transportation facilities for two purposes. One is getting the raw materials, and The other one is sending the raw material or sending the finished goods to the market. Moreover, he also needs the transportation facility to get the employees or maybe the manpower, right? At that time also we may need the transportation facility. So enough transportation facilities are always available in the city area or urban area. That is why obviously they are urban areas. Next, enough banking and credit facilities are also available. You get to have not one two three bank, you have numerous banks there. You may have the so many type of credit facilities available. There are so many institutions providing credit facilities. Financial institutions are available, so that becomes a an advantageous point for urban area. Third point, which is advantageous or which is a benefit or maybe considered as merit, it is near to the market, and due to large population, local demand for a product is high. I told you earlier also that when we talk about urban area, city area, as compared to village area, it is densely populated. We have a number of customers available there, so local demand can be raised very easily, and it can be extended to very high levels in the urban area. So that is the third benefit or the merit. Next, there is easy availability of skilled and unskilled labor both. See, unskilled labor is such a kind of thing which is ubiquitous, means it is available everywhere, whereas skilled labor can be available in the say it can be available in the city area itself. Suppose if some basic kind of technicians that you need for your unit to run, at that time the skilled labor may be very much available in the city area. Then what we do is we select the city area, we go for urban area because we want all the little educated and skilled technicians. So that becomes a kind of benefit. Next comes up is urban areas can be at the privileged position when training institute for workers and management institutes for executives are developed in the city areas. Why it is a beneficial thing for a unit? Because you get both the things. You can have the institutes for the workers also, they get training from there and you can hire them from there, as well as we have so many management institutes. We may have the training centers for executives also. So what happens because of that? The executives of the required category or maybe caliber can also be hired, which is not available in the rural area. So these are the 5 advantages. Let us see what is the 6th one. The next one is availability of insurance services, no need to explain. Next is availability of fast communication services. Naturally, as compared to the rural area, the communication services are quite fast and rapid in the urban areas, right? Again, the facilities like drainage, water supply, firefighting facilities that are provided by municipality are also available. You know that local self government or maybe municipality works very well in the city area or urban area. It's a very positive point of a city area, and that is why they provide us with all the kind of drainage system, maybe the water supply that we need, the fighting facilities that is required. Everything is available in a city area, so that advantage also we may have it. Even your unit may be such or the product may be such which requires a particular kind of storages, then the cold storage facilities are also available, which we may not find it in the suburban areas or maybe the rural areas. So that's most advantageous. Next comes up as 10th one, very important. You get educational facilities, medical, recreational facilities, and all the amenities related to having easy life are also available. So if you ask a person to move from Bharuch to Ahmedabad in search of work, or because the industries have developed somewhere in Ahmedabad, and you ask a person from the village area or from maybe small town to move on to Ahmedabad, he'll always be happy. Why? Because he gets all the benefits like good education, good medical facilities, recreational facilities are available, so he'll always try to move on, and so getting the human resource will also be not a great deal. So these facilities again available in the urban area. Next comes up is facility of ancillary services are also available in plenty. See, many units highly depend on the aided services. That means they need a constant support of raw material, maybe components are required, maybe one or the other parts are to be outsourced. Then at that time these ancillary or helping industries are quite a lot available in the city areas rather than the rural areas. So ancillary help or ancillary services can also be received very easily, say packaging, say in that case repairing all these services, or maybe getting the wear and tear of the machines, maybe getting the spare parts of the machines. These things becomes easy in the urban area. Next and the last one comes up is passenger transportation for employees, like road, railways, metros are available. Naturally, we all know it, that passenger transportation is easy. You can commute easily from one place to another in a city area, which is beneficial. So one person can easily travel from one place to another. So these are the 12 points which tells us that why city area is better, or why we should consider urban areas, what are the benefits that we can get if we are trying to move our unit to urban areas. So that is about the advantages. Let us move to the next part, that is selecting the location in urban area. As I told you earlier also, does not always provide advantages or benefits only. In fact, there are set of disadvantages also, and we should consider it more vigilantly, more carefully. Why? Because looking at the advantages, a person may feel that this place is very lucrative, આ બરાબર જ જગ્યા છે, પણ at the same time આપણે disadvantages પણ જોવા જોઈએ, આપણે એના જે ગ્રે પાર્ટ છે, જે કોઈનનો બીજો પાર્ટ છે, એ પણ આપણે જોવો જોઈએ, so that being the entrepreneur we do not commit any kind of mistakes. So what are the disadvantages? Number one, the most important, see, any establishment is always on land, and getting land in urban area is of high rates. We all know this. Land is very expensive in urban areas, so that is the biggest problem. That means the total investment will increase. Whether you are ready for it, then you can select the urban area. So often the cost of land is very high in urban areas, right? Next is, due to high standard of living, the cost of labor is relatively high, because what you can or a person can survive very well with say 10,000 rupees in a rural area, but surviving in 10,000 rupees in an urban area is a big deal, or it's a big question, because the standard of living is high, things are expensive, the living standards of each and every person in the urban area is high, so that makes his graph go high of a cost of living. So in that case the labor may be expensive. Next, various types of taxes are levied in the urban areas, because we get the facilities are never free of charges. So what happens? On the contrary, government charges the taxes, and when the taxes are charged, we have to pay high for it, and that again we need to consider. Next comes up is, the rate of labor turnover is also very high, because people see, labor turnover means once you have started in some kind of unit, after some time you shift to some another unit, again after some time you shift to another unit. That means you keep on changing your job. That is labor turnover. So that is often seen very much in the urban area, because you get many opportunities, job opportunities, as compared to small towns or small villages. You get many opportunities in the cities, so everyone wants to grab those opportunities. So labor turnover is high. You train the labor, you train your HR, you train your human resource, you spend money on them, you spend time, energy, everything on them, and after 6 months of training, and after 6 months of that person's working, he may leave after a year. That means whatever you have actually spent on him becomes a big wastage. So that's a big problem, labor turnover in the urban areas, right? They keep on changing the job from one unit to another. There is general tendency of the competitors again to snatch away the trained employee, that we have already seen earlier. What happens is, competitors try to see that, okay, if this is a trained labor or trained employees are there, if I try to give them with more amount of say salary or maybe perks, then they may snatch away your existing employees. What happens because of that? The employees for whom you have made so much of arrangements, you have made already spent so much of money, that becomes a big wastage. So that may also be the problem in the urban areas. Next, the availability of the land is limited. I told you it is costly also and limited also. So what happens? In a piece of land, you have to go with the multi-storied building. You have to bring the building, the factories in say layers. That means first floor, second floor, likewise. So what happens is, that's not an actually ideal working condition for the machineries to get installed or plant to get installed. But anyhow, you have to make the building and construction in such a manner that comes to multi-story. So for industrial purpose, yes, for office purpose, for commercial purpose, it may be very viable decision. But for industries to set up at first floor and then at the second floor, and likewise because of the unavailability of the land or costly land, that's a big issue. Sixth and the last one is, again, I think second last, again, trade union movement is quite strong in the urban areas. So what happens is, often these may give rise to strikes and lockouts. What happens is, the trade union, because the mass is educated, you have the trade unions there. Trade unions have their own bargaining powers. When they try to see it, when they try to make the things out of management, then they can get united. They are little educated, they know about their rights. So what happens is, they may turn up into, or they may create the strikes and lockouts very frequently. That may be the issue that may be faced by industries. Seventh one is, the industrialization in the city area gives birth to slums and dirty residences, and this creates typical problems of sanitation and health. We know the city like economic hub Mumbai, right? But again, people living there, or maybe the Dharavi is a place which you may be knowing it. This place is the biggest slum of Asia, and what happens is that there, if you go and just check it out, the sanitation facilities are not there, the health issues are too many, it's so dirty to live in, right? These many things may happen, and these may be a problematic thing for overall eco standard of the city. So but this happens in the urban area, which we cannot neglect. Eighth is, many municipal restrictions pose problems in establishing a plant. For example, somewhere you get the permission from the municipality or corporations, or maybe from municipal corporations, for building up 3-layered building, or maybe you may have 5 layers where the requirement may be of 7, but they may not allow you, right? Again, pollution control restrictions are very high, right? You have to control, a proper control is being maintained on the pollution, and yours may be a polluting nature kind of industry. Then in that case, these things are to be considered. So all these 8 points, plus whatever the advantages and disadvantages we have seen, after considering this of urban area, the person can select the urban area, how far that a particular place may be beneficial to him. He selects, he can make the selection, then on. When we meet next in the next lecture, we'll try to see other 2 areas, that is suburban area and the rural area, right? For now, it's end of facility location, unit number 2, and it is end of part 6. I wish that you should maintain the notes for it continuously. I have been telling you that please maintain the notes, or else it will be very difficult to compile all these videos at the end. So please do maintain the links also. You should maintain the list of links, as well as you should maintain the list of things that we are doing. All these topics should be in a proper order, because I check the order and then I pass it on with the video lectures. So you have to keep the order also. So ultimately, when you refer, or when you come to an end of a chapter or a unit, you can come to know that these many things we have already covered, right? By the time we meet next, it's goodbye from my side. Take care and be safe. Thank you.